I'm Kim Quillen, president of Cebu, and it's my pleasure to help kick off tonight's celebration of great business journalism work. 2020 was quite a year. The pandemic, an economic downturn, and a presidential election converged into a nonstop news cycle. We also faced significant financial headwinds as an industry, but you rose to the challenge, and the awards that are handed out this evening honor the outstanding work that was done last year. Tonight, we'll recognize many of the biggest business stories of 2020. We'll also celebrate the hard work that each of you do every day. Thank you for all that you do and for your ongoing support of Cebu. And thank you to our BIB chairs, Joanna Ossinger and Scott Winger. Joanna is a past president of Cebu and an editor at Bloomberg. Scott is a member of the Cebu board and an editorial director at Barron's. I think it's time we start handing out some awards, so I'll hand things over to Joanna and Scott.
Hi, I'm Joanna Ossinger, Global Markets Editor at Bloomberg, coming to you from Singapore. I'm thrilled to be hosting Cebu's 26th Annual Best in Business Awards celebration. Thank you for being with us this evening, and I'd like to thank the ceremony's sponsor and my employer, Bloomberg News. Bloomberg is proud to sponsor this event and to honor great work from all corners of the business journalism world. Now I'd like to introduce my Best in Business Awards co-chair and co-host, the excellent Scott Wenger, an editorial director at Barron's.
Thanks very much, Joanna. I'm here at my home office in New York City, and like you, excited for this Cebu ceremony honoring truly exceptional, inspiring journalism. The quality and quantity of the entries was extraordinary this year. Truly world-class and world-changing business and financial journalism. As we begin, please share congratulatory Best in Business Awards tweets and other posts with the hashtag Cebu May 2021. That's hashtag Cebu May 2021. We also want to thank the nearly 200 judges who dedicated their time, talent, and wisdom to reviewing and judging the awards. It's time-consuming, but essential, and also so gratifying and affirming of the state of our profession. Let's get underway. Watch for the names of the winning writers and editors on screen.
We'll open the ceremony with the Commentary and Opinion Awards, which recognize coverage that reflects the point of view of a writer or news organization. The category includes unsigned editorials, individual columns, and blogs. The winner in the large division is Michael Hiltzich's When Workers Lose Out, written for the Los Angeles Times. The judges said Hiltzich consistently points out the contradictions in many employers' words versus behavior in the pandemic. His pieces argue important issues for workers during a historic time. An honorable mention in the division goes to David Lazarus, also of the Los Angeles Times.
The commentary opinion writer in the medium division is Sumaya Keynes of The Economist for The Cost of Managed Trade. This piece prevailed due to its refreshingly blunt cadence, its sure-footed grasp of economic history, and its lively, compelling argument. This column sets out a complex topic and explains it clearly, taking a position and backing it up with data the judges wrote. Honorable mention is given to Marilyn G-Wax for a contributed piece in the Cleveland Plain Dealer titled, "This Labor Day, Workers Are Feeling the Heat of a Jobs Bonfire."
In the small division, the winner is Joe Cahill for Crane's Chicago Business. Incisive, on-the-money commentary, the judges said. These read like fully reported commentaries with good, strong criticism of CEOs and their corporations. Well executed. The honorable mentions in the division are awarded to David Calloway for Calloway Climate Insights and Greg Akers for the Memphis Business Journal. Moving on to the feature writing category, the winner in the large division is the New York Times for An Oakland Bar. In this entry, Jack Nickus made the statistics real and gave a face and voice to the people whose lives and livelihoods were affected by the pandemic, the judges said. The result is a moving narrative that does what the best business writing is meant to do, clearly explain the problem and bring it down from abstract numbers into human stories that convey the depth and impact of an issue.
There are two honorable mentions in the feature writing large news organization division. USA Today for Fighting to Survive, 7 weeks, 30 million unemployment claims, and the stories of people enduring it all. And a collaboration of Bloomberg News and Bloomberg Business Week for breaking the food supply chain. Moving on to the medium division, the award is given to a collaboration of ProPublica and The New Yorker for how dollar stores became magnets for crime and killing. The depth and breadth of reporting in this entry really stood out, especially in tracking down and winning over reluctant sources amid a pandemic. The strong interview-driven narrative revealed a disconnect between the company's success on Wall Street and its failures within many of the low-income communities that have driven the company's growth.
An honorable mention is awarded to Forbes for Tony Hsieh's American Tragedy, the self-destructive last months of the Zappos visionary. A second honorable mention for the medium division goes to the Miami Herald for A History of Broken Promises. The winner of the small division in feature writing is Marker for Unlucky Charms, the rise and fall of billion-dollar jewelry empire, Alex and Annie. Judges praised Marker's Unlucky Charms for its depth of reporting and vivid, sophisticated, and nuanced storytelling that made it a compelling read. It is an illustration of the struggles of turning a brilliant idea into a corporate empire and how a bizarre internal culture can jeopardize it all. There are two honorable mentions: Crane's Chicago Business for Missing Pieces, and Sportico for College Sports Dealmakers Treat Tampons Same as Porn, Politics, and Tobacco.
Next are the winners in the audio competition, which judged all media outlet sizes together. The winner is Bloomberg News for Foundering. Bloomberg realizes the full potential of the long-form podcast format with this artfully produced series. Foundering includes extensive audio from internal staff meetings run by WeWork founder Adam Neumann, whose dizzying rise and fall remains one of the most fascinating business stories of recent years. The series is especially insightful in its reporting about Neumann's early life on an Israeli kibbutz, questioning whether his startup was really inspired by the commune or a reaction against it. An honorable mention goes to a collaboration of Gimlet Media and the Wall Street Journal for Race and Business. And a second honorable mention is awarded to the Center for Public Integrity for The Heist. Congratulations. Moving on to the banking finance category. The winner in the large division is Bloomberg Business Week for Private Equity in Healthcare. Heather Perlberg, Caleb Melby, and David Koknewski have painted a devastating portrait of the harm private equity investors have done to the US healthcare system in this year of coronavirus. Their stories were timely, deeply reported, and clearly written.
An honorable mention goes to the Wall Street Journal for the Coronavirus Credit Conundrum. On to the medium division. The winner is Fortune magazine for the First Lady of Wall Street. This well-written story places the Citigroup CEO, Jane Fraser, and her promotion as the banking giant's first female leader into proper context, the judges said, shattering a glass ceiling on Wall Street. This article was notable for the narrative about Fraser's quest to manage her personal life and the cutthroat corporate sphere, such as taking time off the career track to have a child, and how that improved her managerial skills and personal empathy. The winner in the small division is ACBJ National Content Desk for Access to Capital. This was an excellent set of stories on flawed and unequal lending practices by banks and the Small Business Administration. The judges were impressed with the writer's deep analysis, original data reporting, and compelling anecdotes. The narrative was accompanied by strong charts, including a standout graphic that showed depressed lending to Black-owned businesses. An honorable mention in the division goes to the Washington Business Journal for PPP coverage.
Breaking news winners spotlight outstanding coverage of a single news event on the day it breaks or a significant scoop. The winner in the large division is the New York Times for the FDA and Pfizer. The judges lauded the Times for delivering a huge exclusive with its story about the Food and Drug Administration's approval of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine. Honorable mention in the large division of the breaking news category goes to the Financial Times for collapse of Wirecard. In the medium division, the winner is Bloomberg Industry Group for DraftKings FanDuel fees deemed taxable in landmark IRS memo. This team delivered a scoop about a non-binding IRS memo that could result in millions of dollars of additional taxes for daily fantasy sports websites like DraftKings and FanDuel. The reporters followed up their scoop about possible excise taxes owed for entry fees with an analysis of the potentially criminal legal liabilities the companies face as well.
In the small division, the winner is Ad Age for the Richards Group coverage. The first report in this entry not only broke news, but also produced the kind of impact more commonly associated with investigative reporting, the judges said. Follow-up stories chronicled the rise and fall of an advertising firm whose 88-year-old founder called a proposed ad too black, in quotes, and wondered aloud whether it would alienate a motel chain's white supremacist customers. The honorable mention in this division is CoinDesk for PayPal crashes the gates of cryptocurrency.
Due to the Best in Business Awards this year is the data journalism category. Winners are recognized for exceptional content that is both premised on data and clearly and compellingly displays it. In the large division, the winner is the New York Times for the pandemic economy. The judges praised labor-intensive number crunching on state jobless benefits before and after the $600 a week supplement, and a compelling case on the relationship between lax social distancing rules and higher case counts. Honorable mention in this division goes to the Washington Post for most unequal recession in modern US history. In the data journalism medium division, the winner is Kaiser Health News for millions of older Americans live in counties with no ICU beds as pandemic intensifies. The content was a strong example of what data analysis should be: smart, comprehensive, but down to earth. And it answered questions that readers probably hadn't yet thought to ask, but need to.
The honorable mention is awarded to the Tennessean for COVID-19 crept from cluster to cluster, weaving a web over Nashville. In the small division, the winner is Crane's Chicago Business for Crane's data package. This three-part package stands out as a model of impactful data journalism, the judges said. The data provides depth to the storytelling with interactive graphics flowing alongside compelling interviews that together tell the story of Chicago's reckoning with its racial divide. The interactive visualizations are informative, intuitive, and very well executed. In particular, the subway map is fantastic and one of its kind. The honorable mention for the small division is awarded to ACBJ National Content Desk for Small Business, Big Mission, One System, Unequal Access.
Moving on to the economics category, the winner in the large division is Bloomberg News for Left Behind. This was a first-rate deep dive into the chronic economic and housing inequality exacerbated by the pandemic, the judges told us, focusing on people in two neighborhoods in one struggling city, one with booming home prices, secure employment, and rising incomes, and the other filled with increasingly desperate renters losing jobs, opportunities, and incomes. The well-written pieces put flesh on the bones of the biggest story of 2020. Two honorable mentions here: the Wall Street Journal for the 2020 big-small dichotomy, and the Washington Post for the K-shaped recovery.
The award in the medium division went to the Houston Chronicle for Left Behind. Strong writing and use of data to illustrate how the K-shaped recovery is leaving millions behind after they came so close to finding growth and stability at the end of the last economic expansion, the judges said. The anecdotes bring home the frustration and sense of lost opportunity. An honorable mention in the division is given to Marketplace for United States of Work. And in the small division, the winner is ACBJ National Content Desk for COVID-19's economic ripple effect. The Business Journal's articles provide three lenses through which to see the impact of the pandemic, the judges said. The restaurant and hospitality angle are obvious, but the higher education and brewery stories show how certain industries had pre-existing conditions that made them vulnerable during this time due to a dependence on international students and small business loans. The articles are well written and have nice graphics to illustrate and quantify the impact.
For content focused on energy and natural resources, the winner in the large division is Bloomberg Green, for how a booming business for phony carbon offsets is holding back climate progress. This three-part series, rich in detailing characters, was an eye-opening investigation into the abuse of carbon offsets. Those offsets burnished the green credentials of the biggest corporations and yielded millions of dollars for environmental groups, but not done much to slow climate change. Honorable mention in this division goes to the Wall Street Journal for Exxon Runs Low.
The winner of the medium division is Pittsburgh Post-Gazette for After the Explosion. The storytelling and structure were compelling and the design was ambitious, the judges said. It used a lot of data and information that flowed easily into the story. All the numbers were anchored in the people's stories, part movie script, part shoe leather journalism, energy in the 21st century. An honorable mention in the division is awarded to Economic Hardship Reporting Project for America's Radioactive Secret. The winner in the small division is the Center for Public Integrity for Hidden Hardship, Immigrant and Foreign Food Workers Toil and Die in Obscurity. Through shoe leather reporting and rich data analysis, the Center for Public Integrity crafted an exemplary package of stories that deftly showed in text and graphics how immigrant workers in US food processing plants often went unprotected, physically, socially, and financially, as coronavirus raged across the heartland in 2020, the judges said. An honorable mention is given to the Portland Business Journal for Smoked Out, Wildfires Deal Willamette Valley Wine a Harsh Blow.
The Explanatory Awards honor in-depth reporting and writing that presents, analyzes, and simplifies a single important topic or news event. The winner in the large division is the Los Angeles Times for Overwarned, Underinformed. This work prevailed due to the clear, insightful research and writing by Jeffrey Mohan. He focused on a well-intended California ballot question that has long gone astray by prompting companies across a wide spectrum of industries to adopt scary warning labels or simply avoid California entirely. This evidence-based assessment showed the referendum seemingly served no purpose other than to enrich plaintiffs' lawyers. 2 honorable mentions are awarded to Bloomberg Businessweek for working through COVID-19 and to Bloomberg News for Silicon Valley's racial reckoning. The winner in Explanatory Awards Medium Division is Bloomberg Industry Group for Can Businesses Win? Fight over COVID-19 Insurance Claims. The winning team did a superb job of reporting and clearly explaining a timely, complex, and highly important story, the nationwide battle over coronavirus business insurance claims. The team's video and podcast transformed a complex subject into a lively, thoughtful, and balanced analysis with excellent sourcing, background, and context.
An honorable mention is awarded to a collaboration of Oregon Public Broadcasting, The Oregonian, and ProPublica for The Cutting. A second honorable mention is awarded to Yahoo Finance for Yahoo U. In the small division, the award is presented to the Nashville Business Journal for Human Trafficking, Nashville's Boom Cloaks a Crisis. The Nashville Business Journal's special report on human trafficking explains in detail, at once clinical and shocking, how a gruesome daily round of misogynist abuse is part of the warp and woof of a thriving city, the judges said, which pitches itself as a wholesome destination for tourists and businesses. The whole package, the careful reporting, storytelling in shards, the photos, the editing, is high energy, persuasive, heartbreaking, and infuriating, a first-class job. 3 honorable mentions to the Inside Climate Change for Hot Molecules, The Counter for The American Restaurant is on Life Support, and to Portland Business Journal for Smoked Out, Wildfires Deal Willamette Valley Wine a Harsh Blow.
Covering the topic of government, the winner in the large division is USA Today for Meatpacking. Terrific work starting with the early recognition that one of the country's most dangerous and least desirable lines of work was likely to be vulnerable to the spread of COVID. Compelling tales throughout, and quite impressive, the judges told us, that the reporting team stayed with the story and its effects long after the worst of the outbreaks had passed. Honorable mention for the large division is awarded to a collaboration of Kaiser Health News and the Associated Press for underfunded and under threat. In the government category medium division, the winner is ProPublica for Pandemic Profiteers. This winning entry brought to light how the federal government's reliance on private enterprise failed the American people in the early months of the crisis. The writer leveraged the power of investigative journalism and compelling storytelling to illuminate how the US government's use of private contractors to source N95 masks ultimately delayed the American response to the unfolding catastrophe. Honorable mention is awarded to Bloomberg Industry Group for Zoom Courts.
The winner in the small division is Jacksonville Business Journal for Investigation into Attempted Privatization of Downtown Parking. This reporting exposed a problematic effort to privatize downtown parking in Jacksonville, the judges said, bringing scrutiny where none previously existed. It's a fine example of the impact local watchdog journalism can bring, and of change that wouldn't have been possible without the reporting in this entry. An honorable mention is awarded to the Center for Public Integrity for The Favored Few.
And now the health and science category. The winner in the large division is the New York Times for nursing home abuses. In this series, the Times produced eye-opening reporting that exposes a system of perverse financial incentives, regulatory capture, and opportunism driving the lightly regulated nursing home industry. The reporting, which included contacting ombudsmen in all 50 states because of the lack of national data, shines a light on some of the most vulnerable people experiencing the toll of the pandemic. Honorable mention is awarded to Business Insider for inside the cult-like leadership of the young living essential oils empire. The winner in health and science medium division is Fortune for the risky business of breast implants. This is a very solid example of public service journalism, holding a major company accountable for how it has mishandled the hazards caused by its products. The story was so well done that it stood apart in a year when medical news was dominated by a once-a-century health catastrophe.
An honorable mention is awarded to Fortune for Fertility Inc. A second honorable mention is awarded to Forbes for why Pfizer may be the best bet to deliver a vaccine by fall. The winner in the small division is The Counter for What Does a Vertical Farm Taste Like? The judges awarded this entrant the winner designation for her wonderful coverage of the growing vertical farm industry. What could have easily devolved into a regurgitation of PR talking points instead was a thoroughly reported and critical look into how the farms work, what they promise to change in the food industry, and whether they deliver. The writing was excellent and gripping. An honorable mention is awarded to the Indianapolis Business Journal for Pandemic Threatens Smaller Hospitals while Wealthiest Get Billions in Aid.
Up next are awards for the innovation category. Entries in this category were honored for demonstrating a new and creative way to report, tell, or distribute stories. The winner in the large and medium divisions is the New York Times for Designed to Deceive. This innovative piece sheds light on a little-known aspect of technology, the use of AI to design fake people who can be used to populate ads or as fronts for online trolls or other bad actors. The New York Times designed its own AI to create dozens of images of people who don't exist, yet are so realistic that most people wouldn't be able to pick them out as computer simulations. The combination of reporting, analysis, and the development of the AI program created an innovative package that underscores both the promise and threat of artificial intelligence. In the small division, the Best in Business Award is given to Crane Chicago Business. Breaking down tax bills is game-changing journalism from which more communities could benefit. And this entry displayed strong multimedia storytelling in formats that engage different audiences, print, digital, and audio.
Moving on to the International Reporting Contest, The winner in the large division is the Wall Street Journal for Inside Facebook's Struggles to Police Hate in India. This well-documented set of impactful stories reveals how Facebook and its executives in India are conflicted or even willfully blind when company policy calls for blocking hate speech, but company interests include working with a governing party closely linked to that hate speech, the judges said. Sobering reporting on a fundamental worldwide concern that resonates strongly with the ongoing turmoil over social media and hate speech in the US. An honorable mention is awarded to the Wall Street Journal for How Ants IPO Unraveled. In the medium and small divisions, the winner is The Economist for Land Rights in Africa. The judge's winning vote goes to The Economist for stories on property rights in Africa. They said, the articles are engaging, the graphics help tell the story, and the subject matter has wide appeal. They worked on both a human and international level. Quality writing and a novel subject helped set that story apart, and the other pieces in the package provided an engaging tie-in with the larger issue of undefined property rights in Africa. Bravo.
Our investigative category honors in-depth enterprise reporting that brings important information to light and demonstrates an obvious need for change. The winner in the large division is the New York Times for The President's Taxes. This stunning and impactful investigation demonstrated remarkable breadth and depth. It is among the most consequential pieces of investigative reporting of the Trump era, the judges told us. 2 honorable mentions are awarded to the Associated Press for palm oil labor abuses, and also to the Wall Street Journal for deadly cruise ships. The winner in investigative medium division is ProPublica for how global meatpacking companies exposed workers and communities to COVID-19 while government agencies failed to protect them. This is powerful reporting that exposes the negligence and dishonesty of US meatpacking companies that led to horrific sickness and loss of life during the pandemic. The reporters provide a deep inside view of the industry's multiple failures, from misleading the public to allowing workers to labor side by side, even as the virus raged. They bring their story to life with details from targeted public records requests that expose the panic of public health officials who expressed alarm over what they were seeing. These are stories that show excellent planning and deep reporting. 2 honorable mentions are also awarded: a collaboration of the Youngstown Business Journal, WKSU, and ProPublica for Desperation Town, how Youngstown gave itself away for the promise of jobs. An honorable mention as well to the Tampa Bay Times for Cash Driven.
The winner of the small division is Syracuse.com for How a British Conman Lured Slumlords from Around the Globe to Syracuse. An outstanding piece of reporting and a gripping read, the judges said, featuring vivid photos, interviews from around the globe, and a video package. This story took months of digging and showed how a British man bought up to 100 low-income Syracuse rental properties and sold them to foreign investors by lying about the home's investment potential. The result was years of blighted and unsafe properties in the city, a lot of angry investors, and ultimately, the suicide of the British man. An honorable mention is awarded to the Memphis Business Journal for DMC Housing.
Next in the Best in Business Awards is the Investing and Markets category. The winner in the large division is the Financial Times for BlackRock's Black Box. There are a lot of surprises in this story. The very existence of Aladdin and the conflicts of interest that arise from BlackRock's ownership of it are 2, along with the risk to the broader market, from cyber attack to a rogue line of code that come from such a heavy reliance on a single platform. The writing kept the judges hooked throughout, and they commended the use of public documents to drive the narrative and shine light on a platform so deeply disconnected to the global economy. Honorable mention in the large division is awarded to the Wall Street Journal for In the Room Where It Happens.
In the medium division, the award is presented to Forbes for 20-year-old Robinhood customer dies by suicide after seeing a $730,000 negative balance. This was a beautifully reported entry that took a tragic story and made it much bigger, the judges said, and the reporters then followed up on the topic relentlessly. They exposed how Robinhood sells their customers' trading data to profit seekers on Wall Street, all the while keeping up the pretense, they said, that the company is customer focused. In the small division, the award goes to The Counter for why COVID-19 plant shutdowns could make the big four meat packers even more profitable. The Counter won with an impressive story on how the big four meat packers used plant shutdowns to profit from the chaos of the pandemic, the judges said. Joe Fassler and H. Claire Brown found that even as meat packers closed plants, they paid less for cattle and charged more for meat. Industry insiders and academics bolstered the case that the closings helped meat packers increase their leverage over cattle producers who were desperate to sell. Deft writing and illuminating graphics enhance this analysis, which comes as a surprise to readers not well versed in how this significant industry works.
Moving on to the media and entertainment category. The winner of the large division is the Wall Street Journal for the collapse of Quibi. The Journal's coverage of the collapse of Quibi led the way on one of the most defining media stories of the pandemic, how one of Hollywood's most ambitious startups raised $1.75 billion, only to shut down in one of the fastest collapses in history. Honorable mention in the large division is awarded to Bloomberg News for video gaming's Me Too moment. The winner in the medium division reporting is The Atlantic for a newsroom at the edge of autocracy. The Atlantic's in-depth reporting on the South China Morning Post at a critical time in the publication's history, unfolding during a tumultuous time in Hong Kong's history, shines a light on the pressure that media agencies face in China's shadow. Timothy McLaughlin's reporting and storytelling were compelling and opened the doors to what was one of the last bastions of the free press in Hong Kong.
The winner of the small division is Quartz for how to save TV ads from extinction. The judges chose this as the winner because it is a timely and comprehensive look at television advertising, an engine of the medium that is facing an inflection point. We came away knowing more about the history of TV ads and their possible future than we did before, they said, and we found the piece to be well complemented by the data displayed in the associated charts. In the newsletter contest, large division, the winner is the Financial Times for Moral Money. The Moral Money newsletter is less than 2 years old and it's already won 2 Cebu awards, the judges noted. This year's winning entry again stitches together informed analysis, conversational writing, and clear graphics in order to address an array of ethical questions about global finance. The net effect is a newsletter that makes the reader feel like a part of the conversation around pressing topics such as ESG investing, boardroom diversity, big tech, and climate change. An honorable mention in this division goes to the Financial Times for Energy Source.
The winner of the medium division is Axios for Axios Capital, a trove of information and analysis on everything from hot companies like Robinhood and GameStop to bond prices and foreign investment flows, all delivered with cheeky humor and engaging graphics. Honorable mention in this division goes to Yahoo Finance for Yahoo Finance Morning Brief. In the small division, the Best in Business Award goes to Stat for DC Diagnosis. This newsletter covers a hot industry in a smart and lively way. It delivers must-reads and original analysis in a conversational tone that gets to the point and takes full advantage of email as a format, going well beyond a collection of headlines and links. Honorable mention goes to Callaway Climate Insights.
Next are the winners of the personal finance category. For personal finance coverage in the large division, the award is presented to CNBC for Where's the Money? CNBC's multi-platform investigation into Beam, a fintech industry offering that made big promises it largely failed to keep, is a solid example of personal finance service journalism at its best, the judges said. Honorable mention goes to a collaboration of Kaiser Health News and National Public Radio for Bill of the Month. The winner in the medium division is Financial Planning for A Conflicted Question, What is Fiduciary Advice? The story raises important questions in wealth management and contains strong quotes from advisors who left Northwestern Mutual because of their discomfort with potential conflicts of interest, the judges said. The work reflects in-depth knowledge of the subject and valuable sources. It is a story that could have further impact in the sector.
In the personal finance category, small division, the award is presented to AARP the Magazine for true tales of love and money. This package of stories address the challenges and complexity of dealing with money and relationships from the perspective of older adults. Overall, this was a well-reported, engaging, informative package that displayed strong sourcing and critical thinking skills to cover the topic of love and money in a new and meaningful way. Now to the awards for real estate coverage. In the large division, the Best in Business Award goes to the New York Times for housing and the pandemic. This collection stood out because it illustrated three distinct, searingly true points. First, that overcrowded housing conditions forced by poverty and high rents, not density per se, is what made people most vulnerable to the virus. Second, that complication born out of a desire to avoid fraud can hamstring even the most generous federal programs. And third, while policy largely prevented the eviction wave many had predicted, it still came at tremendous human cost as tenants strained to stay put, all told with data, deep sourcing, and empathetic storytelling. Honorable mention for this division goes to the Wall Street Journal for the pandemic housing boom.
In the medium division, the winner is Politico for the next great real estate crisis. In its climate change investigation, the Politico team presents a powerful, forward-looking picture of one of the most critical areas of environmental, social, and governance today through the lens of U.S. housing and the failings of Fannie and Freddie to deliver looming economic and to address looming economic and societal risks, the judges said. Thorough reporting and deft use of data and images all contribute to compelling and impactful storytelling, while helping the industry openly discuss a key challenge in need of addressing sooner rather than later. An honorable mention is presented to the Houston Chronicle for All Corners. In the small division, the award is presented to Besno for at CRE's biggest companies talk about diversity is rarely followed by action. As the judges reviewed and discussed the entries, they found themselves circling back to the ones that touched on racism, the judges said. In such an extraordinary and difficult year, the stories that sought to tackle hard questions were compelling. They liked this one's systematic approach and felt it broke new ground. Two honorable mentions, one to Bankrate.com, housing affordability for the squeeze titans, and an honorable mention is presented to the Puget Sound Business Journal for Pieces of an Empire.
In the retail category, large division, the Best in Business Award is presented to CNN Business for dozens of Amazon's own products have been reported as dangerous, melting, exploding, or even bursting into flames. Many are still on the market. In a year when many newsrooms chronicle the pandemic's impact on retailing, this CNN Business investigation stood out for its freshness. The reporting team's thorough probe highlighted the potential perils of Amazon Basics products. This underreported topic deserves the wider exposure this recognition hopefully brings to it. Honorable mention in the large division goes to Bloomberg News for Buying Black. The winner of the medium division is ProPublica for Walmart was almost charged criminally over opioids. Trump appointees killed the indictment. The difficulty and complexity of this reporting is significant. Uncovering a proposed criminal indictment and then describing its rejection at the highest levels of government is a rare feat in business journalism. This article demonstrated impact as a US attorney in Texas resigned after publication. The article also foreshadowed a major civil suit against Walmart and suggested it had been watered down.
The honorable mention for the medium division is awarded to a collaboration of ProPublica and The New Yorker for How Dollar Stores Became Magnets for Crime and Killing. The winner of the small division is The Counter for Why aren't distilleries making more hand sanitizer? Because FDA forces them to make their alcohol undrinkable first. The story of distillers hustling to convert their alcohol production to hand sanitizer to cope with sudden shortages of this critical pandemic supply was covered often in the early stages of the pandemic, the judges noted. This was the other side of the story, that government regulation made it prohibitively difficult and expensive for many smaller businesses to do that, paralyzing a major source of sanitizer just when Americans needed it most. The breadth and depth of the reporting, the clear and effective writing, and perhaps most importantly, the clever focus on the why element made this story the clear winner in the category. An honorable mention is awarded to the Tampa Bay Business Journal for retail package.
Next, we have the winners in the small business management career category. The winners in the large division is Bloomberg Business Week for greater awareness brings welcome challenges to Black-owned small businesses. In a year crowded by COVID stories, the judges were struck by the original nature of this series. It was a narrative not really seen elsewhere, and on a segment of small businesses that often receives less coverage than it deserves. The judges were particularly impressed by the depth of the storytelling and the originality of the content. Honorable mention goes to the Wall Street Journal for the insurance fight of a lifetime. The winner of the medium division is Fortune for how Chinese American restaurants are ensuring their future. The judges wish their publications had written this story. Their small business reporters should have looked at how Chinese restaurants are doing during a pandemic in which former President Trump inflamed anti-Asian sentiment and anti-Asian racism based on misinformation is on the rise. The narrative was great with strong reporting. The writer did an outstanding job, the judges said, highlighting the resilience and hope of immigrants accustomed to dealing with existential threats. Honorable mention goes to the Minneapolis Star-Tribune for After the Riots, the Painful Cleanup.
In the small division, the award is presented to the Sacramento Business Journal for minority-owned businesses take a harder hit from the coronavirus crisis. In a category crammed with stories about issues facing small businesses due to COVID-19 and racial inequality, two obvious themes of 2020, the winning story managed to address both in a concise package while offering actionable information for business owners, the judges said. One judge noted that the story also predated the deaths of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor, showing the newsroom's focus on marginalized communities before the world's attention turned to them. While it was very hard to choose a winner among a strong crop of applicants, this story stood out for its completeness and attention to multiple important subjects. Moving on to student journalism, the winner of projects and collaborations is the Arizona Republic for Nationwide Insurance bought one of the state's most valuable parcels of land in Scottsdale. It also got a great deal. Watching out for taxpayers and whether they are getting ripped off is one of the most important jobs a journalist can do, the judges said. This article is chock full of details that let readers decide whether they feel their representatives have been proper stewards of public land.
Staying with student journalism, the winner of Stories Written for Professional Publications is Arizona State University's Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication for It's As If Hurricane Katrina Hit Every City Around the US, How COVID is Impacting 5 of the Largest Nonprofits. This work scores well in terms of solid research, writing, and journalistic investigation. Perhaps more importantly, this piece showcases an issue of great importance for the local audience. Honorable mention in this category is also presented to ASU's Cronkite School for how journalism interns reported on places they've never been over the summer. The winner of Stories Produced for Student News Organizations is ASU's Cronkite School for Cannabis Farms Struggle to Survive California Wildfires Without Insurance. This 3-story package is deeply reported, well-written, and demonstrates initiative. The article about cannabis farms stands out because it highlights yet another point of contention that the cannabis industry faces as more states legalize marijuana, while it remains illegal on a federal level. The package combines personal stories with data and history to give important context to readers. Honorable mention goes to the Ryersonian for adoption of surveillance tech for online exams sparked student backlash at Ryerson. Congratulations.
Moving on to the technology category, the winner of the large division is the Los Angeles Times for Harsh Realities for Gig Workers in Perilous Times. The precarious nature of the gig economy and warehouse work was apparent long before the pandemic, the judges said. But as millions of workers put themselves in sometimes mortal danger to do these jobs, the LA Times series shed light on how tech companies failed to protect them. The reporting, which included in-depth profiles of individuals who faced these perils, should have raised questions in readers' minds about the labor conditions their dollars support and the treatment of the workers who make e-commerce and fast delivery services possible. The honorable mention for the large division is the New York Times for disinformation. The winner in the medium division is the Houston Chronicle for Next Commercial Frontier. The package from Andrea Leinfelder of the Houston Chronicle was a lively one, the judges said, with 3 separate stories on the ins and outs of the aerospace industry. Leinfelder pulls together engaging characters and impressively geeky details for this group of stories that help readers understand what is happening without writing too far over anyone's head. Leinfelder not only understands her beat, she has a particular talent for writing in a way that makes it a delight to read. In the small division, the award is presented to The Information for From Despair to Deluge, Silicon Valley During the Pandemic. This entry offers a strong overview of the setbacks of tech startups at the start of the pandemic and their unlikely comeback, the judges said. Effective and detailed anecdotes throughout the package help draw in readers. The writers produced an accessible and engaging series of stories that catered well to their audience.
Another new category to the contest this year is the business of sports. The winner in the large division is the Financial Times for sporting goods retailers grappling with race. Naomi Osaka was the most fascinating and important athlete of 2020. This was a fascinating look at how corporations handle her outspoken nature that goes outside the cultural norm. In addition, readers saw the tension between Nike's public stances and internal shortcomings on diversity. Honorable mention in this division is presented to the New York Times for covering the NFL during a pandemic. In the business of sports medium division, the winner is Bloomberg Industry Group for DraftKings FanDuel fees deemed taxable in landmark IRS memo. A revealing look at how a basic decision can have huge ramifications for an industry. A well-sourced, well-quantified, and well-written analysis of a significant gambling tax issue. In the small division, the award is presented to Sportico for the business of sports. If simplicity and clarity are the essence of good journalism, the Sportico work is a brilliant example of it. The graphic for the valuation of sports teams, for instance, is a masterwork in reporting, distilling, and presenting complex material, the judges said, in a straightforward and easily accessible way. Honorable mention in the small division is presented to the St. Louis Business Journal.
The winner of the Travel and Transportation contest in the large division is the Los Angeles Times for Fumed Out. The LA Times entry was engagingly written and well illustrated with smart, specific art that moved the story forward with new information, the judges said. It's not easy to explain how airplanes work, and the LA Times did it with plain, vivid language. The pieces inform the public and have the potential to create real, beneficial change. The honorable mention in this division is the Wall Street Journal for Airlines in Distress. In the medium division, the winner is the Miami Herald for COVID cruises. The Miami Herald team showed government indifference and cruise ships ignoring the rising coronavirus danger, the judges said. This team of writers should be applauded for digging through the numbers via multiple sources on cruise ship passengers who tested positive for COVID-19 and, more importantly, died from it. They also reached out directly to cruise ship passengers, asking for help to further buttress their numbers and bring a human face to this tragedy.
In the small division, the award is presented to The Information for Uber. Amir Efrati's deeply reported and well-sourced features about the leadership of Uber in the post-Travis Kalanick as CEO years offer compelling and often shocking windows into how a shakeup meant to right the course wound up doing the opposite. The reporting inevitably raises essential questions about the direction of the company and the possibility that yet again, a failure of leadership might be doing more damage. The writing is clear and direct with no ambiguity, making it all that much stronger. Honorable mention in the small division goes to Crane Chicago Business, for now we know what your United Air miles are worth. Next to the Best in Business Awards is the video division. In the large category, the award is presented to the Wall Street Journal for 31 Days in March. This look back at just the month of March 2020 was a compelling reminder of how the US was thrust into the middle of the pandemic and the pivots required by big business to survive. Great voices in the piece, which covered a wide range of industries. The pacing was excellent and production quality top-notch, the judges recommended. Honorable mention is presented to a collaboration of the Financial Times and PBS for Opioids, Inc.
In the medium division, the award is presented to the Miami Herald for Stranded at Sea. The seemingly endless voyage of thousands of stranded cruise ship workers is relayed in this personal experience of one who spent 171 days on water due to the world's coronavirus restrictions, the judges said. The winning entry shows how ships, each hosting more than 1,000 stranded cruise workers, manage to provide service every day. The entry compellingly follows the daily routine and eventual depression of one worker. In the small division, the award is presented to the San Francisco Business Times for Small Business, Big Mission. This was an incredibly important story of the past year and was told beautifully, the judges said. They connected with the entrepreneurs who were interviewed on a human level. The judges liked that there wasn't a narrator. They let the entrepreneurs tell it in their own words. They also appreciated the production quality. It was beautifully shot, and they liked the flow, the music, all of it. Well done.
And now to the final category of the Best in Business Awards, General Excellence. All of our General Excellence winners demonstrated an exceptional breadth of work, exemplified by one piece from at least 3 of the following categories: a major scoop, coverage of breaking news, explanatory work, investigative content, and visual journalism. The winner of the industry topic specific publications competition is The Real Deal. The Real Deal stood out for being fun and gossipy, but also deep and informative. It struck a big home run for its vital work covering a big, glitzy industry like real estate.
In the General Excellence Large Division, the award is presented to the Los Angeles Times. In a highly competitive news year, the Los Angeles Times produced an extraordinary mix of reporting of particular interest to its local and regional readers, the judges said. Tightly focused spot news reporting at the start of the pandemic, followed by a pair of deeply reported, brilliantly written, and exceptionally consumer-friendly investigative stories.
The winner of the Medium Division is the Miami Herald. The Miami Herald's excellent reporting on the stranded cruise ship passengers amid confusion and obfuscation by the industry, in addition to its compelling series of stories on racial inequality, set it apart from the other excellent nominees in this category. The depth of reporting, dynamic storytelling, and use of well-produced and contextually relevant video demonstrated a newsroom that uses all of its tools to surround the most important stories impacting its city. This was business journalism at its best. The judges also award an honorable mention to the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel.
In the small division, the award is presented to the Triangle Business Journal. This newsroom shined across the board with a relentless focus on stories of interest to their regional readership that showed an ability to dig deep, tell good stories, and present them creatively, the judges said. The Triangle Business Journal gave its readers high-quality journalism on stories of great local interest, an in-depth explanation of a lawsuit alleging a no-poach agreement between Duke University and the University of North Carolina, a prescient look at the damage the pandemic would cause restaurants, and a visually arresting examination of a local affordable housing design contest. And I would just like to take a moment to also personally thank all the judges who took their time and energy to judge this contest. It means so much to us. Thank you very much for all your efforts. We couldn't do it without you.
And congratulations to all the Best in Business Award winners. And thanks to all the entrants as well for the exceptionally hard work delivering such meaningful impactful journalism in historically challenging circumstances. We look forward to reading and to listening to and watching the entries you'll be submitting from this year's work. So watch for updates on next year's competition at our fall conference. Finally, an appreciative thank you to our Best in Business Awards sponsor, Bloomberg News. Thank you, Bloomberg News. And thank you to my especially talented Best in Business Awards co-chair and co-host, Joanna Ossinger. Thank you, Joanna.